Hello, nice to have you join us. My name is Elizabeth Abai, and I'll begin by telling you or asking if you know the quotes: train a woman, you train a nation. It may well sound like a cliche, but I tell you something, it is still very relevant up till date. And somewhere in the town of Babura, that's in Jigawa State, a family understood that clearly, and they not only understood, they also implemented it. And the result is the guest I have today. Who is she? Stay with us and find out. You're welcome back, and you're still on to Prime Woman, reaching you from the largest television network in Africa, the NTA. And I did mention that I have a special guest today, and I'm going to run her, a little bit, her profile. She is one woman who is doing us proud, and she is recently, not too recently though, made a professor. Well, my guest today is the Honorable Minister State for Education in the person of Professor Suwaiba Ahmed. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And I already said congratulations, but I want to say it again right here on camera. Congratulations. How does it feel? Do you think it's something you can carry well? I know you were associate at the point before you became fully. What's the change like for you? How are you feeling about it?
Well, to be called a professor is like you have reached the very tip of your career as a lecturer, because that's the last and final promotion that you get at the university. So by that on its own makes you feel like you have achieved a lot. It's a great achievement, not only for me, but also for my family.
That's a good one. But the you I see, the you I know, we have to find a way to create another ladder for you to climb because you're very restless. You just have to keep climbing. Now,
Yeah.
education in Nigeria is not that easily achieved for women, especially in certain parts of our country. Indeed, it's actually widespread. And for you, you did not just go to achieve. I allowed you to tell us that you've actually reached the apex. You reached the apex in a division, in a faculty, in a unit, however you call it, that is not very friendly with women. Talking about the STEM, what keeps you moving?
Well, for me, I think coming from a learned family, my father is a retired professor, and he's the kind of person that always instill in all of us the importance of education. I remember he always say that for him, it's not about leaving money for his children, rather it's about giving them the education that they require so that they can earn the money themselves. And not only, it's not even about the money, but rather so that they can be productive members of the society and that can be able to also touch lives. So I grew up in an environment whereby anytime we come back from school, my dad is always asking, what have you learned in your class? Have you done your assignment? Do you need any assistance? We know that by 9 o'clock, we must sit down with him and listen to the NTA news.
Oh,
And at
wow.
the end of that news, he will ask you,
What is
brief me, summarize, so that when you are watching the NTA news, you will not actually start thinking of something else.
That's a good one. It goes back to tell us that the way a bird is led will always determine how you lie on it. And for young children, just like you, at that time, it was your parents to do the laying of the bed for you, and you're enjoying it. I'm sure they too are enjoying it. Now, you have grown to a point where you did a lot of job. One of them was being a provost in the College of Education there in Jigawa. And when I saw it, I said, how does she even cope? It's not easy dealing with adolescents, young adults, and all of that. But you did it as if you were just stepping out of a spa. How do you manage that?
For every woman that not only goes through schooling, but also works, you know that we are expected to do two jobs. Not only two jobs, but we are also expected to do extremely well. For me, as someone that got married at level 300, it's not just about even going to school, but balancing taking care of the home, and then also balancing my schooling and ensuring that I excel in each. So for me, because I started learning to balance that equation right from the school. So it becomes a bit easier. I have children while in school. My first daughter, I gave birth to her at level 400. In fact, I gave birth to her on the day I'm writing my final examination. I gave birth around 9. I wrote my paper around 12
No, I don't
in the noon.
understand. You move from labor room to exam hall.
Exactly. I just,
Why?
because it's my final examination
Oh,
and
wow.
I want to do that exam. And at that time, there was no provision for them to bring the paper to me. And for someone that I told you, we always have my eyes are always at a
On the
point.
ball.
Yeah, so for me, I felt since I'm okay and I can be able to write the examination, it's just better for me to go and write the examination. My family, as always, they have been always been supportive. My mom asked me, "Are you sure you can be able to write the exams?" I said, "Yes, I'm sure." And I wrote that examination. And to tell you, I'm the only person that got an A in that course. So it's just to show you that the kind of things that we women go through. Even before my appointment as a provost, I have held different positions of, I can say, leadership while at the university. I was the head of the department, and you can see that I'm still young. So even when I was the head of the department, I'm still young. I have a lot of people that have taught me. I have other colleagues that are also senior colleagues, but I'm still the head of the department. So it's also balancing the equation also. You do the work, and then sometimes there are a lot of challenges in the work environment. Some of the men will feel that this is a woman and she's dictating what I do, and therefore there is kind of resistance in terms of actually maybe working together smoothly and understanding that hierarchy, that being that I'm the head of the department, you still report to me. Apart from holding the position of head of department, I was also a subdean in my faculty. At the same time, I'm also the Director Center for Gender Studies at the university, where we have a center that is on there, and we do a lot of researches and the rest. So all this, I follow all these processes.
It was a tutelage process for
Yes,
you.
so you get to learn better, you get to understand the intricacies attached to position of leadership and how to balance the equation. So when I was appointed as a provost, I will say that it's really something that I just fit in, is because
You were
I'm
already
used. Yes,
shadowing it.
I've been already trained for that
One
position.
of the people worked with, I think he made a comment that was a bit hilarious. He said, "The prodigal child is now my boss."
He was actually a family friend. As I mentioned, my dad is also a university lecturer, a retired professor. Professor Abdul Oba Adamu, who made that remark, was a friend of my dad. And I grew up knowing him as a father also. And we are from the same department, that is science education. For me, at my undergraduate, I did education, chemistry, physics. So we're in the same department. He was actually my supervisor for my master's
Wow.
thesis. And we worked together with him as a family friend, and also he is like a mentor to me. And that was why he wrote that article.
When I read it, I had a good laugh.
Yeah,
But
it
then
is.
it's good to
Yeah,
see people we train
yeah.
grow up and become. I'm sure he's really proud of you, and he
He
said that
is.
out of a place of pride.
Yeah.
Now you have all your life been education, education, educationist, and then now you are our own minister for state education, and your ministry has been in the lights, for a lot of people, especially parents, with regards to what the JAM is prescribing and what is not prescribing. And I'd like to know what's the energy behind it.
As you know, JAM is very important because it's a placement examination.
Yes.
It helps us to see you have limited slots. Whether we like it or not, some of these programs have limited slots. For example, the most typical example that I can give you is medicine, medical sciences. Everybody wants to be a doctor.
Not me.
Well, well, it's just, but generally,
I
if you
know.
look at
No.
the percentage, I wanted to be a medical doctor.
No.
But then my dad, as I said, somebody from education, he said, no, Suwaiba, you can't be a medical doctor because we don't know your husband then. And men can be very funny. Being somebody that comes from the north, he understands the psychology of the northern man. He said you may be lucky to get someone that can support you, but at the same time, you may not be lucky and you can get someone that will not support you. But if you go into education, most men accept for their wives to go and do teaching. It's very easy, and it's also easier for you to balance the home and the workspace. So that was why he said, so let's come back to the discussion. But mostly children that go into sciences is either they want to be doctors or architectures. So all these popular courses that everybody wants to be a professional, it's make it very difficult for everybody because the space is not just there. And then also these are courses that are professional courses that it's not even everybody that have the ability and capability to go into that programs. And that is why JAM is there to assist and test and do the placement. But gradually now what we are doing at the ministry is create more spaces. So that more people can go into those programs that are very popular. Because by limiting the spaces up to date in Nigeria, with the doctors, the nurses that we require, they are still not adequately available.
That's just what I was going to ask.
Yeah, so what we are trying now is to increase that available spaces. Right now, we are building additional laboratories because mostly universities are handicapped because of the lack of available laboratories for some of the science programs and also lack of available hostel facilities. All these facilities we have identified and we are targeting that. You can see that now our key priority area is now STEM. That is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medical sciences. So these are the key priority areas we are picking, and we're trying to put in place all the necessary facilities and all the necessary things in place to ensure that we give adequate opportunity for the massive youth that we have in the country.
That would be a nice one because a lot of times I see people write JAM. When they do not succeed to get in, it's actually very saddening, not just for the child, but for the parents. So if you have to do this, it will be a big relief for...
We are already doing it. We are already doing it. Already some of this, like the additional multipurpose laboratories, already I think it has been approved, in fact, for the building of 4. It's in phases. The first phase in 4 geopolitical zone, we're building 1. We have identified a central position and they're building those multipurpose laboratory in those universities just to create the spaces. And then the second phase will build in the additional 2 zones. And then also in terms of building the hostel facilities, medical centers and medical faculties is also in the pipeline.
Have you also thought about, private partnership with in regards to the
hostel facilities?
Yes.
It's one of the avenues we are also exploring to go into PPP. We are, in fact, it's part of one of the meetings we had with the pro-chancellors and the vice-chancellors. We encourage them to do that. And also, TED Fund has a special intervention that they will support even any university. I can't exactly quote the amount, but any university that is going into partnership, PPP, in building hostel facilities, there is a certain support that TED Fund will give that university.
No, let's talking about education again. I think that the very bedrock of our growth still falls on the curriculum, and I've always stressed the need for the practical curriculum, not just theoretical. Are we doing something to rejig our curriculum to make it more entrepreneurial based, job creation based?
We have a lot of programs on curriculum that we are doing in terms of reviewing the curriculum. Right now, we are done with the basic curriculum, and we are doing that for the post-basic and also for the NCE program. The curriculum review we are doing, the one that has just been concluded, the focus actually is on the skills. So that it's expected that by the time you go through the 9-year basic education, you have a skill that you can learn. The courses themselves also, we are trying to see and ensure that more practicals go into that. Part of the new initiative we have, specifically the TVET program, I don't know whether you have heard about it, but we have done a lot of media outings on that. That is technical vocational enterprises training. We are trying to look at the federal technical colleges now. Initially, they've been converted to federal science and technical colleges. So we're trying to focus on technical aspect, the technology aspect, to ensure that there is this skill gap analysis that we did. We discovered that there is a lot of gaps in terms of these technical skills that are needed in the country. So it's going to be 80% practical and 20% didactic.
Theory.
Yeah, so that is the focus of that. And we are also trying to do short courses in terms of vocational enterprise institutions where people can go in for a 1 year and learn a particular skill. These people can be either graduates, it could be out of school dropouts that have started school and have left school. They can go and learn a particular skill, and then we are trying to see how we can give them either a starter pack or arrange for a soft loan for them, that whatever skill they actually learn in that institutions, they can be able to practice.
But how can I partake of this if I'm one of such? How do
We are right now we are in the process of registering these STCs and VEIs. We are doing the registration for them, and I think for this we are going to do a massive campaign so that everybody knows about it, and we'll soon release the date that we are starting this particular program.
I know that you're pretty still young in your tenure. I mean, you resumed in October, but I also know that you're very fast-paced. I've asked questions, and I've been told that. What are we expecting more? You know, don't blame us. We're just Oliver Twist.
We have, as a woman, anytime, that's why we need to be in a position of leadership. When we are there, we think of things to do to support one another. So for me, one of those key initiatives that I'm about to release is a girl education initiative. We are naming it Lumina. Lumina from the term illuminate.
Oh, okay.
Illuminate the girl child by empowering her with education and also economics. Let the girl child not only have the education but also skill that she can be a productive member of her society. So this Lumina is a program that we are starting. We are piloting in 12 states. 2 from each of the geopolitical zone. The Lumina program is 3 phases. We have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. The phase 1 is that we call it the route. We are targeting the mothers. We are doing a short course for the mothers, 4-month short course. And for you to enter the route, we want you to enroll your child, a girl child, into the STEM, which is the second phase.
If I don't have daughters, like
that's why we say relative. It's either a daughter, but we need you to enroll someone, even if it is your neighbor. Go and get someone, a girl, that you enroll into the STEM
boys
program.
will complain.
No, but there we have different programs. For this is targeting the girl child, because if you look at the statistics we have in Nigeria, we have a high percentage of out of school children. Depending on the data you're looking out, but it's about 15%, out of which 60% are girls. So we are trying to target that access, which is one of the key priority area according to the roadmap. We have Renewed Hope roadmap on education. We are targeting access as one of the key priority area. So to increase this access, and that's why we are piloting in 12 states. So when the mothers have the skill, and we also, and the skill training, we are thinking of giving them either a starter pack or looking for soft loan for them also. Now we have the STEM. And the STEM is, at the ministry, we have accelerated curriculum. The 9-year basic curriculum has been summarized into a 3-year curriculum. So we want to do like a mobile schooling. But we want to make it very interesting. In that is a scripted lesson, gamification methods to ensure that the children are not coming to school only, but they are fully motivated to come to the school. And then we have the Bloom. The Bloom is targeting the adolescent girl child that drop out of school for one reason or the other. No, sometimes these girls, either they started school, they drop out, and by the time they drop out, they don't have anywhere to fit. We want to create that pathway for them. So it's also 1 year. It has 2 pathways. The first pathway is graduate from the STEM can feed into the Bloom. And then those that drop out of school can also fit into the Bloom, depending on the level they are. This STEM and Bloom also, you could be a 10-year-old that has never been enrolled in school. If you take this child to a conventional school, they will tell you he's an overage. This STEM will give a pathway for that child. Catch up, and then you can go back to your conventional school. So this is the Lumina. At the same time, at each of these levels, there is skill training. What we want to do is, we'll give you the skill training, we'll get either a starter pack for you or a soft loan for you to do. And then we are also talking to the private organizations. Let them come and mop up the product. We are teaching you how to do, for instance, we talk to market people in one of these popular markets, and they said that no matter the number of petroleum jelly we are able to produce, they can mop it up.
Oh, wow.
They have a market for it. So we want to go into partnership. We can train this woman in doing petroleum jelly. And then this private organization can do aggregation centers, whereby After they are done with their product, they can take it to that aggregation center, and then the private organization can get it off their hand and pay them their product. So we are also very concerned about the quality education, because as you are aware, part of these statistics that are out there is that we have about 45 million learners considered as learning poor of education.
As educated illiterates.
Yes. So what we're trying to do is we also have specific initiative to target this quality education. We are looking at it from a holistic perspective. We are looking at it not only in terms of the teachers themselves. When you look at it in terms of the teachers, we are looking at it in terms of the free service and in-service teachers. Free service, we want to catch them while in school, the NCE teachers, and that's why we are in the process of reviewing the curriculum to ensure that they are trained appropriately and will be able to implement the curriculum while in school when they start to work. Some of our teachers now are lacking the passion. They are in class, but they are in school, but for one reason or the other, they don't go into class. The spirit is there. So the value for education, the motivation from school to work. So we are trying to actually enrich the curriculum and infuse this into the pre-service teachers. And then for those in service, we also are looking at how do we retrain them. We are looking at retraining of teachers from two perspectives. That is the physical and also the online. With this, we are in the 21st century. So these are things we are working on, the quality education. And at the same time also, we are also revamping the quality assurance unit, both at the federal level and also at the state level. We are going into discussions with the state to see how do we revamp the quality assurance so that they go there, and we also want to make it also fully digital so that we ensure that the quality assurance officers actually stay in the school and they are actually supervising the teachers and giving them the necessary support that they require. Lastly, we are also doing school grading. The school grading is we are looking at all the schools. This is something that
this is very necessary in
it's
the
very
rural
necessary.
areas, especially.
Yeah, so we are doing this school grading. We are grading school A, B, C, D. We have indices and criteria for the grading. We want to do target intervention so that we won't say that at a go you want to convert all the school to standard school. The resources are just not there, and it will be more difficult to do that. But by the time we do the school grading, we can target schools that have been categorized as D school to move to C school. D is below average. D is average school, and then we have good school and we have excellent school. So we want to be moving the school gradually so that we target our intervention, and at the end of the day, gradually we'll move all the school to the excellent school.
That's nice. Let me leave you from your office and go straight to your person at home. How do you, juggle it? I know you say you started training quite early, but I know it's not that easy because we're all women, but we all have our coping mechanism. How do you manage being a wife, a mother, now a minister, then a provost and a teacher at the same time? Do you ever wish, okay, I don't want to do this one?
I won't lie to you. It's not easy, and it's still not easy. Any woman that will tell you that it's very easy, I doubt if she's been truthful to herself. It's not easy because, as I said, you do not one job, not two jobs. You do two jobs, and then everybody expects you to excel in those two jobs. If you don't take care of the home now, they said, is it not because she's working? She can't even take care of her children. She can't do that. She can't do that.
See minister's children.
And then if at work, you are also not doing well, they say, stay at home. She will not stay at home. She wants to work and she's not doing good job. So it's not easy at all. At a point in time when I was doing my PhD, I did my PhD at Abuja Zaria. I live in Kano. I work at Bayer University, Kano. And I will tell you this. Every day, I go to school. When I was doing my coursework, that's how I go from Kano to Zaria. Every day, I'm back to Kano again. At the time, I have 3 children, all of them young ones. Before I leave the home, I ensure that I set the children to go to school. Sometimes I even cook lunch to ensure that even if I'm not around, they have to be there. So sometimes my day starts by 4 in the morning. So it's not easy, and it's not only me. As I said, my story is the story of a lot of women that are out there. But at the same time, I have an advantage in that I have a supportive husband. I also have a supportive parents. My mom always say, please bring them to the house. You don't need to stay with them. Just bring them over. Let's see how we can assist you. But notwithstanding, you still do things. As a person, as a mother, up to date, I try to do homework with my children because that was what my dad did to me. Up to date, I still do homework with my daughter. She doesn't like anybody doing homework with her. I have a 5-year-old up to date. I have 5 children now. One is a graduate. One is in level 400 reading medicine. Another one is in SS3. And I have a primary 6 and also a nursery 2.
You're going to spoil that one.
So up to date, she will say, nobody is teaching me homework. I want to do homework with Umma. She will wait. Even if I'm late, she will still wait for me. Okay, I want you to teach me because she knows that I always create time to actually sit with her and do that.
She's feeling very entitled.
Yeah, she is.
We should not lose our children. We should not lose our families because we're earning, or creating a career path, because eventually it will end. But the family, you always have to go back to. And it's important we keep it going so that we have somewhere to go back to when the public serving has ended. But in not losing the family, you should also not lose yourself. It's very important, self-love. Well, how do you relax? How do you give yourself, love yourself up a little bit?
That's the funny thing.
Don't tell me you don't.
No, I try to. But what I do, my son said, is not relaxing. He said, Umma, what you are doing is not relaxing. Because what I like doing is reading.
That's not relaxing. That's tasking your brain. That's tasking your brain.
You are still working. If you are reading, then how do you converse relaxing? Take a nap. Go for something. Go for outing. That's relaxing. What relaxes me is to read. Get a good novel. And then just sit down and read that good novel. That's one thing I love doing, even as a young one.
What would you want to change, a little bit about you? If you have to go back like maybe 23, 30 years backward.
To be frank, nothing.
Wow, that's a good one.
I'm happy how life turns out for me. When I started as a young married lady, it wasn't easy because then we are yet to reach a clear understanding with my husbands. By their very nature, men are territorial, men are, they dictate and they expect respect. This cut across all. It's men. Not even Nigeria. It's globally. It's by the very nature of who a man is. So the advice I normally give women is always respect your husband. Don't say that I was a director Center for Gender Studies and I have a lot of feminist perspective. But for this, I don't say that no, stand for your right. Because by the time you respect the man, he will also respect you. And by the time you support the man, he will also support you. So if you want to succeed, create an enabling environment at home first.
It's been such a pleasure talking with you. Thank you. And I wish you all the good things while you are here because I know you'll make a success story.
Thank you very much.
All right, the show has been Prime Woman and we've been talking to our own minister, yes, proudly so, Minister for State Education. And she's told us a whole lot. If you had listened all through, I'm sure you'll pick one or two things, especially as a woman who is challenged, to help you keep going. The war is never over, so keep fighting.